is up, Mortal Kombat X fans? I'm Tommy from Z&D Comics, and welcome to episode 2 of my MKX Q&A. So if you have any questions evolving around Mortal Kombat X, just leave them down below, and you could have a chance for your question to be answered in my next video. So I have 5 questions I want to answer today, and one rant about a quote that somebody said in my previous video. So let's start out with the first question. JokerFan305 asks, what do you think of the new characters, and who's your favorite? So let's start out by listing the 4 characters who are new in the game. We have Cassie Cage, Devora, Kotal Khan, and Ferrator. So I think that all the new characters are, every single one's interesting, but my favorite would have to be Kotal Khan because he's supposedly the new baddie in the game, and new bad guy automatically equals, okay, that's awesome. Like, think about in the Arkham Knight, we have the Arkham Knight character. He's the new bad guy, everyone loves him. So I get that same feel with Kotal Khan. He's interesting, he's dark, he's more built in a way that looks like he's big, you know? Sort of like how Raiden looked like more of a sly guy, but Kotal Khan looks more like a dark side character. Oh, I'm just gonna beat the crap out of you, you know? So, and I like his powers too. I like his fighting style. I also like Cassie Cage. The reason Cassie Cage is so awesome because she's the daughter of Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade. So we're gonna be seeing probably a lot more relatives like that, and it's gonna be awesome because she's gonna have like that kind of cockiness type feel of Johnny Cage, my guess is, but she's gonna have that sly, sexy, by the way, awesomeness of Sonya Blade, where she's kind of like almost like a acrobatic type character, but she's gonna have that I'm kind of badass, get used to it Johnny Cage feel, and that's exciting. And she looks cool too. I mean, I like how she has that buzz cut in the back, but then her hair is kind of like pulled up to a bow tie in the top, so her looks are great. So Cassie Cage is definitely an interesting character to me because she's one of the relatives that we're going to be seeing in the game. So Cassie Cage and Kotal Khan, those are my thoughts on that. Devora, she's probably my least favorite. I like her fighting style, how it has kind of something to do with nature and like caterpillars and butterflies, but I don't really find too much interesting facts in her at all. The last character is Ferrator. Now Ferrator is also, because Ferrator, they're 2 characters, not one. Ferrator is Farah and Tor. Farah's the big guy and Tor is that little midget up top. So that's pretty cool because when we're playing as them and actually using them as a fighter, they're going to be 2 characters in one. So you're fighting as like Tor, but then Farah sometimes as like special moves will come around and kick the crap out of the other guy. So it's going to be interesting to see how we're going to be able to use 2 characters at the same time, and I can't wait for them to use that in other games like Injustice and Mortal Kombat like 11, because maybe we can see more characters that are 2 in 1 and maybe even 3 in 1 eventually. So Farah and Tor it's a different fighting style, so I like that, and we don't really know too much about their history, but you know, I can't really say much. I hope it's good, but I really just am excited to play as them. So those are my thoughts on the 4 new characters, and Kotal Khan is my favorite. The next question comes from Verpal. He asks, what if Liu Kang is revived by, say, Shunjinko or Kun Chai, and Kano captures him and makes him a cyborg? So I talked about, you know, Liu Kang coming back again in Mortal Kombat 10 because we do know that he died in Mortal Kombat 9, and he already died. That's the second time he died. He came back as a zombie. We had zombie Liu Kang. So how is he going to come back the second time? My guess is that he's going to come back as like a ghost, but you know, it says here that from the question he's asking, let's say he gets revived like Lazarus Pit style by, let's say, Shunjinko or Kun Chai. Now, Kano captures him. That's what interests me. If Liu Kang was captured by Kano and possibly made into a cyborg, then maybe we could have, think about this, zombie cyborg Liu Kang. That could be his name, zombie cyborg Liu Kang. And now we could just get cyborg Liu Kang. But why not, you know, make it that extra length where he comes back as like a zombie type character again, but is like, you know, he's revived by Liu Kang or Kun Chai, but then just Kano immediately captures him in the storyline with like, you get to play as him as like he's revived at first. Like, okay, you're playing as Liu Kang in the chapter, and he gets revived by Liu Kang and Kun Chai. You're playing as classic Liu Kang, and then at the end of that one chapter, he gets captured by Kano, and then later on in the game, you could play as cyborg Liu Kang. Now that would be pretty cool. I mean, I can see the powers of Kano and Liu Kang like mixed together. So like you have Liu Kang, who are like his main powers, but then you just get to throw in cyborg powers, sort of like what Kano has. So I think that's pretty cool. You know, could possibly happen, but maybe it's kind of a stretch, but a lot of things happen in Mortal Kombat X universe that we don't really expect. So zombie cyborg Liu Kang is a possibility. Carlos Agua asks, do you think MKX will come out on an iOS tablet game like Injustice did? So I think that answer to the question is yes, but let me explain. So Injustice, for the first time ever for pretty much any MK game created by NetherRealm, came out on iOS version. It came out before the game actually came out, and it was pretty fun. I don't usually like to play tablet games or like any games like that because they don't really interest me, but it was fun and it was cool because you could actually unlock skins that you could only unlock through the iOS game, so that kind of gave motivation for people to download the game. And it was fun. You got to fight people, but there was no story. So let's say there was an iOS game for Mortal Kombat X. What I would like to see is a storyline inside of that game, sort of like how we saw Batman Arkham Origins and Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, which came out for 3DS and PS Vita. Maybe we could have Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat X, the reviving of Liu Kang, for like the iOS version. So maybe the iOS version, instead of being like what Injustice was, it's an actual storyline inside the game. Like it's $6, you actually have to pay for it, and you can play as other characters, but the actual storyline is like the reviving of Liu Kang. So you can play as Liu Kang and let's say other characters who you didn't really get to play with in the game. So I think that would be more interesting, and you could probably get money off that because it's like sort of how Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate was. It's a part of the storyline, but you have to buy it through iOS version, and you can play with characters who you originally couldn't play with in the game, such as Shang-Ku or Kun Chai, like the past question, which maybe could be attached to the iOS version. So that's just one way to think about it, like how we could have an iOS version of the game. But I just hope that the iOS version is different than the Injustice version, because I honestly did not like the Injustice version too much. The next question comes from Sky Werner. He asks, do you think Rain or Havik will be in the game? Personally, I think Rain will be in the game. Havik, I don't know too much about. Now, let me explain why Rain will be in the game. He got really popular. Now, I liked Rain in Mortal Kombat 9. I actually don't own Mortal Kombat 9, but I played it before, and I liked the way he uses literally like Rain. Like the way his water, like he kind of reminds me of a waterbender in the Avatar universe, and I love that. So I think that Rain's an interesting character, and I like how he basically, literally betrayed everyone he liked just to join Shao Kahn, and so he can have a leadership in his own army. So it's kind of interesting that Rain, who used to be a good person and joined his mortal enemy just so he could have a part as a leadership in Shao Kahn's army. So that happened towards the end of Mortal Kombat 9. We do know that Rain was only a DLC, and Rain and Havik both aren't really that popular in the game, in the Mortal Kombat universe, because they haven't really been in too much previous games. I mean, Havik has only appeared in Mortal Kombat Deception, and kind of a little bit in Mortal Kombat 9. He had a cameo, but he did appear in Unchained and Armageddon, but really not that much. His main, part of the Mortal Kombat universe was in Deception, and I hated the way he stood. Like he stood like he was like trying to measure something from a distance, like, oh, this picture should go there. Like the way his hands were, like it bothered me, and I didn't like that. So I really don't care if Havik is in the game or not. I don't think he's gonna be in the game, but Rain, I really hope he's in the game. Rain deserves to be in the game. He's a cool character, his costume looks cool, and his powers are awesome. And I love his little gif down below. Look to the left. Look at the way he's moving his hands. That's funny. And the other one you're looking at is the other gif to the right is the weird one that Havik uses. The way he's like, I don't know, it bothers me for some reason. I don't like it, but I don't really care. So Rain and Havik have a chance to be in the game, but I would go with Rain having a higher chance to be in the game, and Havik maybe will have a cameo or could possibly be a DLC. The last question comes from Gabrielle Oman Morales. She asks, do you think Shunjinko will come back? I know I said that name wrong. I just know it. Shujinko. Shinku. I'm just gonna say Shinku, okay? Don't hate on me, okay? But you all know who he is. He appeared in pretty much 3 games: Deception, Unchained, and Armageddon. His last game was Armageddon, and I think what they should do with him in the game, if he does be in the game, which I think he could be in the game, is they should completely reboot his character, and because they're gonna have like a 35-year jump, I think they should start out with him as a young boy, where he kind of like has this hatred for Shang Tzu and just wants to kind of destroy him. And then you should kind of have 3 stages where he's a young boy, he adventures around, learns all these fighting skills, has a hatred for Shang too. And then you should have him as a teenager where he's a little bit more of aggressive, he kind of learned a lot. And then you should have him where he's an old monk, where he knows a lot about everything. He already traveled to the nether realm, he traveled to the darkness and everything, and then you should have him there. And I don't care which one he's playable in. I think he should be playable as the last one, because then he would be the coolest and the most powerful. But I think that would be cool as a storyline if you started out with him as a good boy, then went to a teenager, and then when you have that 35-year-old jump, you can have him as a 35-year-old man, which technically wouldn't really make him a monk, but you could still do it. Or you can start out with him as a teenager, then 35 years old, and then a monk. But either way, I think that you should use the timeline, to your advantage, and have Shunjinko as coming from a boy to a teenager, and kind of just reboot his character altogether. You could start out at the end of Armageddon and have him as a monk already, but I think you should just start with him as a boy and becoming a monk and use that timeline to your advantage. So that is my answer to your question. But let's end this video by ranting about a comment that some guy had to leave on my past video. He said, you can't have a DC character in a rated M game. Now, I'm not yelling at this guy, I'm not making fun of him, I'm just saying that he's wrong. You can have a DC character in a rated M game. Now, think about it like this. If you're going to go all, really in depth, you could have Lobo. He will never have his own game, but Lobo is a character who could have a rated M game. He curses, he gets angry, and he could do it. Lobo was in Injustice, but he was a DLC character. If Lobo were to have his own game, it could be rated R or rated M. If it was a movie, it could be rated R. But I'm telling you, DC characters can be in a rated M game, okay? DC characters, they're they're innocent, I guess you could say. But there's PG-13 movies with the anime movies where they curse, okay? And Batman says the F word. Batman curses, okay? Now, because comics in general are meant for little kids, so that's why you can't really have it to be that bad. But there's storylines that Batman and other characters are rated M and rated R like. A DC character can be in a rated M game, without a doubt. They could have a DLC DC character in Mortal Kombat 10 or Mortal Kombat X. I don't think they're going to do it anymore because everyone was kind of like, yeah, no DC characters. But I do think that there could be a freaking DC character in a rated M game without a doubt. So I just got kind of pissed off at that because I don't like when people say something can't happen when it can. So that's just my thought. You can have a DC character rated M game. So it looks like that's going to wrap up today's video for Mortal Kombat X Q&A. But if you have any questions, leave it down below. And don't forget to like this video. It really helps out my channel. The more likes, the merrier, the happier I get. Please try to get this video over 100 likes. Just click that button. So comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. I'm Tommy from ZD Comics, and you have a great day.
Ready, aim, fire.